Cuyahoga County stands out as being heavily forested and really important to the region because of all of our trees. We have some, wonderful natural lakes. I think we're like third or fourth in the state with the number of natural lakes we have. Beautiful rock outcropping, kind of interesting, unique areas, Sharon sandstone ledges we have. That's Walton's Gorge when I first walked in there long ago before it was a beautiful park. I got to go check that out and was kind of flabbergasted when I walked into this. So, awesome wetlands. Northeast Ohio is well known for our wonderful wetlands. And these little vernal pools like this are going to be really important here coming up in a little bit, in a couple of weeks. Things are going to start waking up in these pools that are so important to our local amphibians and reptiles and things like that that use these for breeding in the springtime. Got neat, nice, beautiful meadows and wet meadows like this one. This is, I think, Sunnybrook, way back before there was a park there. That's kind of what Sunnybrook, the entrance driveway area, kind of looked like. So what I do is I'll go out and do kind of a one-day quick, it's obviously pretty hard to get a handle on a piece of property in one afternoon or one morning to walk it. But what I do is kind of walk the perimeter of the property. And then if there's interesting features, definitely I'll write up kind of those things, and then they go into this a report here that we give the park board and the director and deputy director to take a look at, and I come up with recommendations and my thoughts. Again, just kind of knowing what we have there, I do a quick one-day rapid assessment of the property, and I'll get into this a little bit. I don't know if this laser doesn't look like it works real good on the TV screen. But second one down there, I get into GIS, which is something on the computer, Geographic Information Systems, and that's a real powerful tool to look at land and land cover and things like that. I'll show you some neat maps that I'm able to produce with that program. And then, kind of what we want out of the property and kind of what our goals are over the next few years and things like that certainly come into play. The rapid kind of surveys, I'm looking at basic kind of what communities are there on the land, any interesting, maybe if I get lucky, I come upon some rare or, some interesting threatened, plants or something like that, which I do occasionally. That's really fun to do. But what we do is, after that one-day walkthrough, with maps and an old-fashioned compass, even I use that, and GPS units and little maps and things. But then I come back into the office and do the real work of the actual report. And this is like, you'll produce, these are cover maps of the property. That's kind of the vegetative communities. Here's the, let's see, that's Orchard, or not Orchard Hills, that's Wicked Wood, the old Wicked Woods Golf Course, mentioned Legacy there. That's a property we call Longo, that's Staples Meadows now. In the report. Sorry, these are so small on this smaller screen. The other cool thing I have access to in this GIS system is something called LiDAR data. This is infrared lasers that are shot down from usually these airplanes or helicopters. But what you can do is it develops and gets the heights of things. So it bounces off treetops, whatever, buildings, everything. And I can tell you kind of basically how tall the trees are on the piece of property, where the nice big mature forests are. So you get a picture of trees, and even it's really cool because I don't know if you can see it. Probably can't see on this, but there's a giant tulip tree on this piece of property. This is connected to the Westwoods, the Gallo property we just acquired not too long ago. And that one, it sticks out on there. You can highlight it. I think it'll pop out. If I can color code things, and if I want something like over 100 feet tall, I'll say make it red, and it'll pop out red. And by gosh, it shows up on this map, that cool tree. So pretty neat. The other thing I look at forest quality is something called interior forest, and that's kind of what it sounds like. It's about 500 feet from the edges. Any disturbed areas, 500 feet into a forest is is what we start talking about in ecology as an interior forest habitat. And that's really important for a lot of birds and other animals that need sort of that protected from predators like raccoons, things like that, that use edge habitat. They're more protected and more efficient, not more efficient, but more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? More successful at nesting and things like that. They're not preyed upon as easily when they're more interior in the forest. And so interior forest is important for a lot of songbirds and things like that. So I'll look at the shape of forests, and if they have, you can do these measurements in this GIS system, and you can punch out, hey, there is interior forest on this property. Of course, I take lots of photos when I'm out looking at the property. We'll get some cool tables on basic land cover. Again, apologize if it's so tiny on there, but you know, I'll write up descriptions of what I see, general ages, guesses on how old this forest is, and you can go back and look through all that data in GIS too, and kind of start putting pieces together on it. Wetland quality. Can go through pretty quickly and use some rapid assessments on those and see just how nice our wetlands are on the property. Unmapped streams as well out there. Nice photos. Let folks, the board members and things that obviously don't have the time to get out there, but try to give them a good sense of some of the habitat and the quality there, what it looks like on site. Yeah, this is from when I first walked around on Veterans Legacy with those photos there. So really neat little spring bubbling out of the ground. It's going to be hopefully our new brook trout stream coming up in a few years. We got the nice grant to do our work there. Map wetlands on the property. This is property we just acquired close to the connected with the rotary and protecting one of our brook trout streams. Again, right up about wetlands quality. I see restoration, old fields, kind of, hey, this is what's existing at the golf course right now. What can it be? I'll make some of those general kind of comments and plans. Ponds, are there ponds on the property? Rare species. I'll even, if time allows, if I'm given a few days out there, I know, maybe this is important, I'll go out, take a look at, and do some more in-depth kind of survey work. This is, I think, when we were out at Veterans Legacy, looking at the west branch of the Cuyahoga, their mussels and fish communities. Yeah, and it's all about, obviously, for me, I love, the pristine, the nice habitats when I walk up on something like this. That's really important to protect. So. The other thing that comes into this is looking at connectivity to other protected lands. So this is the Longbow or Staples property, and it was appealing to us because it is connected to a very large block of Ohio Division of Wildlife, Hamden Orchards property that's already in preservation there, and then it's very close proximity to our observatory park. So with all that, I'll give kind of my general recommendations on what I think about the property to everyone. And so I've been here about 20 years now, and I've looked at quite a few pieces of property now, maybe 60, I don't know, maybe even more than that, 70 pieces of property. So how do we compare these? That's the big question. So how do you say one's better than the other? Or A and B and C, which one do we actually want to consider for acquisition? That's where I have this process that we use called the NQEI. It's the Natural Quality Evaluation, and it's basically using some metrics. It's almost like generating a report card for each piece of property. It's kind of getting an objective look using about 20 different metrics. Kind of give a scorecard to each piece of property based on the ecology and principles like kind of ecological, streams, wetlands, quality of the forest, like I spoke about. Are there unique places on the property? The size of the parcel, that's important. We really, obviously, the bigger the better as far as ecology and wildlife sustainability goes. pieces of property, you know, that are 5 or 10 acres, I mean, they may be important if they're connected all together to other pieces, but a chunk of land that's 400 or 500 acres is much more appealing as far as wildlife and sustainability. You're gonna have a lot more species and something called species richness and diversity in a big chunk of 500 acres of forest versus a 10-acre forest. So that's important. Location, too, within the county. And then it goes into these, this is kind of the scorecard that I use. There's 20 metrics here, 0 to 5 points. I can score each one.